Presidential election brings an average of 63% of registered voters to the polls, but many vote early to be sure their vote is counted.
WIFR reporter Jade Marceau-Mary talked with election commissioners about the last rush today.
But I just wanted to get it done. Despite a little bit of rain, happy to come out here.
The night before Election Day, polls are open until 7 for early voting. Rockford Board of Elections said 27% of registered voters in Rockford are expected to vote by then.
Usually the Monday before the election is pretty one of our busiest days. People are, reminding themselves of Election Day, the weather, not knowing that they can't make it on Election Day. So a lot of people definitely turn out here to our main office, and we currently have a line out the door.
1,000 early voters are also expected to vote on Monday. And more than 40,000 Rockfordians are expected to vote on Election Day.
Tomorrow, most people will actually be going to their assigned polling places based on their address. We do have 36 polling places within the city limits of Rockford. We are considered a universal voting site for anybody as well, but generally most people go to the polling place closer to their home.
Polling places are scheduled to close at 7 p.m. Tuesday, but voters in line by that time will still be permitted to vote. The results of the election won't be official right away.
In Illinois, the election isn't certified until 2 weeks after the election, so that'll be November 19th. That allows for vote-by-mail ballots from military people overseas to still be counted, as long as it's postmarked by tomorrow, Election Day.
In Rockford, Jade Marceau-Mary, WIFR News.
More information on how and where to vote on Tuesday can be found at voterockfordil.gov.